Hello friends, this is Christian Wiese. Today I wanted to talk to you about conflict-free living. I stumbled on this quote from Osho. I thought it would be a perfect introduction. Spirituality is not something over and above humanity. A spiritual being means an innocent being, and innocent requires that you should not be divided. There should be no goal of becoming somebody or something else, but just a deep acceptance and delight in whoever you are so that you can flow, you can be. All right, we all have conflicts, and the important thing is to first accept them, which sometimes is not so easy. So I'm just reading out a few statements. I'm sure you can fill in your own blanks. I feel lazy. I should work hard towards my goal, but somehow I feel too lazy to do it. I feel greed. Spirituality tells me I shouldn't be greedy, yet if I'm honest with myself, I would like to have more money, a bigger house, a promotion, the person that I always aspired to be with. And here I think in the spiritual community at least, we just sometimes aren't honest with ourselves. We just do not even want to see what we truly desire, and life keeps presenting conflicts to us just to make us aware of what is really happening beneath the hood. I'm jealous of this guy. I've fallen in love, yet I'm married. What should I do? I feel the desire to help people. Actually, that's a good one. I feel the desire to help people. Now you would say, well, now finally a good desire. Maybe, but what if the desire arises out of the subconscious knowledge that deep down inside I feel miserable, and I think that by helping people I can make myself well again. So the point of the presentation really is, and that is really, really important, with all aversions, trigger moments, passions, fear, we have to accept this is me. This is me, and we cannot get rid of me by appealing to a higher self that somehow looks down on the lower self and develop the willpower to stick to the higher self. It doesn't work, because the projection of the higher self is still the me, only in spiritual clothes. So it's a very important but also a very confusing subject. So I would argue, let's start with the moment when we actually feel that we are not at peace. Just be with that moment. No running away, no escaping. When the wish to be somewhere else is arising, just observing. No reading of another spiritual book, no watching of another Moji video that brings us back with his hypnotic voice into the awareness with a capital A, but the moment when he stops speaking and when our partner is screaming at us or the boss is unreasonable, immediately that awareness with a capital A goes out of the window. It doesn't really lead to anything. So I wanted to describe a very strange day that I had just a few days ago. So this is June of 2025. I think many of you feel that there's really something going on. There's some amazing days when many of us feel really connected. And then there's those days when again the personality comes back, and we feel a little bit like yin and yang thrown from one side of the spiritual spectrum to the other. So I wanted to describe that particular day, which I think speaks a little bit to Osho's quote. So it was a day when the boiler burst. I had very little sleep. It was at night. I wanted to make sure the basement doesn't get flooded. And then a pretty eventful day. I tried to reach out to the repair people. There were a few interferences there. I had suddenly the two boys who were here over the summer telling me that they're taking the car and driving to New Hampshire to play poker for money in a casino. That was quite an eye-opener. The youngest one also turned 18 just this year. So there were lots of events which actually on a normal day would have made me quite grumpy. But somehow I observed it just as a movie, and not even getting involved in the movie. And it was really not the trying to be spiritual and just trying to be serene. It was literally there was no good, no bad attached to it. Everything was just moving. As a matter of fact, this year I had a couple of presentations which made exactly the same point. And it is, to some extent, the quote that Osho was referring to, the just experiencing, the just being, without any positive, negative, just a flow. Normally when we use the word flow, we use it with that expectation that it's a very positive flow, that everything is going our way. But no, this was a flow where everything in the end worked out. But every interference even was just acknowledged, respected, worked on, and the flow kept moving. So I take this as a day of conflict-free living. But again, it was just a day. There were other days when the conflicts came right back. So what to do now, how to really break free? What is it really that we can do? And I thought I could answer that question with a little quote from Hu Sin. You might have heard of him. When the mind is seen as continually kidnapped by thoughts, the first step towards freedom has been taken. And that is the first level, to realize we are not our thoughts. And all the conflicts happen on the thinking level. Now comes the second stage. Now cease listening to what is being heard, instead listen to what is listening. So this speaks to the awareness component with a capital A, where we are the observer role, we are the being, we are the experiencer, the creator. But the question is really how to get there. And I'm not so sure about non-duality and the claim that you can just grab awareness with an A. You have to let it come to you. It's a grace. But it's always around, and we can always connect every moment. So step number one is, I would call it mindfulness number one. Mindfulness number one is to understand that thinking, feeling, living is something that can be observed. I heard this saying the other day, which I thought is very nice. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are your seeds. You can plant flowers. You can avoid weed. So it's cute. I don't really agree with it 100% because it generates the idea that many in the spiritual community have, that we have somehow that power to plant flowers, and we have the power to walk away from the weed. But to go just back to Osho's introduction, just understanding what purity really is, just understanding what the flowers are and what the weed is already a huge step forward. A huge step, because it's really the understanding of life as is, the observation of life as is, not as we like it to be. So on the first level, we can observe thinking, we can observe our feelings, our interactions, and we can recognize the weed. We can and should have the aspiration to live in a pure environment, in an innocent environment, and we should work towards it. We have to understand how we can work towards it. And now that gets me to the second stage. So when Hu Xin says, now cease listening to what is being heard, instead listen to what is listening, then in a sense that particular day that I described in June of 2025 was that. It was that experience of, in a sense, having been outside of the personality structure, at least for a little while. And now here comes the point of the presentation. We can also very much do something on the day when the personality is coming back with a vengeance. And again, I would like to read something out to you. It's from Rumi. You may have actually heard about it. It's quite famous. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some monetary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So quite beautiful. In essence, when the demon comes, offer him tea, but don't let him stay overnight. Every disagreement with the moment at hand is an opportunity to look at the me. Now the me might not go away that instant, but it's already a huge step understanding that there is a me interfering with what is or what could be. And just observing, just accepting, may just allow us again to enter that flow that is always available. All right, I hope you found that helpful. Look forward to next time. All the best. Bye.